Hey guys, welcome back to the D Time Love Show. And today you join me on the Watch Wow podcast. I've got a very interesting question, and I am going to start doing Q&As every Thursday. So if you have any questions for me, make sure you get them to me by the beginning of the week, so I can basically try and discuss as much as I can on the podcast on the Thursday. And I have to say, guys, this question was very interesting indeed. And his question was, how do I think YouTube influencers have changed the watch community? And I think this question is absolutely brilliant, because when I started on YouTube about 4 or 5 years ago, I honestly can say the whole market of YouTubers summarizing watches and so on was totally different to what it is now. And what is the biggest change? For me, first of all, I've seen a massive increase in watch dealers turn to YouTube to get exposure of the business, in turn to increase sales, which is simple marketing. SEO marketing to get your first page on Google is extremely competitive and extremely expensive. And YouTube is a way of getting free exposure to your business to help improve sales. You don't need an e-commerce marketing manager. To get an e-commerce marketing manager in any sort of luxury arena, you're looking at 75 to 85k, and then they're going to get anything from 10 to 15% based on the annual salary on the sales profits they make via the e-commerce website. So it makes sense to look at a more creative route to get exposure to your business. So what has this done to the watch community? How has it changed? How have people's thought process changed when buying their first watch? Well, the biggest thing that I've seen is that when people are looking to buy their first watch or get into the hobby, the first question they ask now is whether this watch will hold its value. Now, what that says to me is that you're not really buying the watch because you like it. You're more concerned about whether it will hold its value. So, and I think this has really stemmed, and look, I'm guilty of this. Everybody is. It doesn't matter what business you're in or what sector. It's all about making money. And what the used market is all about, or grey sellers, you like to call them, or used boutiques, whatever terminology you want to basically call it. What is important to a watch dealer is that the watches that they're investing in their inventory are not going to lose money overnight and will increase in value. And it's just common sense, isn't it, really, that you're going to sell the majority of the watches you'll sell is probably Rolex at this moment in time. Because they are still accessible. Although the prices have gone up dramatically, you still can buy a Rolex. The common man could buy a Rolex from anything from 7 to 15k at a push, to be fair. And, you know, it's very difficult to buy a Rolex from an authorized dealer, as we're all aware of. And if you guys want to know my credentials and my thought process, this is just my opinion. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself to let you know what sort of substance in terms of where I'm coming from with this. You know, I've got a degree in advertising and communications. So that was the theory part done, learning about semiology, learning how the cigarette industry managed to brainwash people in terms of believing that smoking was cool. You know, basically breathing in smoke, nicotine. You know, the nicotine was put in there to get you addicted, but smoking is cool. Burning ashes and inhaling smoke is cool to your peers. You know, if they can get us to smoke, they can get us to buy anything, guys. It's all about semiology. I studied it very well. I decided it wasn't for me, that side of the business, in terms of campaigning and you're basically working with brand marketers. And then I went into the creative side and became a CGI artist, which I didn't really enjoy because I was working many hours, and I went into recruitment and I recruited for people. It was a lot easier. I was able to use the lingo and the terminology to appeal to these guys and get them into work. And I started working within the luxury sector in terms of recruitment, dealing with sales associates, right up to director level and watchmakers. And these guys are very, very, very discreet animals. And I went into YouTube to try and source people that want to get into the industry sector. But anyway, guys, those are my credentials in terms of where I'm coming from. So I understand about marketing and how it works and what it's all about. And there are many ways of being creative to generate exposure to your business without necessarily spending thousands and thousands of pounds. And YouTube has become a major tool. And I'm guilty of this. I help micro brands get exposure. I've helped many people on the channel get the exposure that they need to their website, okay? And I think what it is, how it's affected the community is that you're no longer just looking at a watch that you like, you're looking at whether the watch will be a good investment piece. And, for some people as well, with the prices as such, it's turned people away from the hobby. They just can't understand, for example, how watches are so expensive nowadays, and for me, I can understand it because I'm a watch enthusiast, and you could call me a watch whore. I love all levels of watches. I appreciate all watches, not so much, I am highly against fake watches, but I like anything from a £200 watch to a £50,000-60,000 timepiece. Okay, guys, so this is what I'm all about. So the biggest change is people are now looking at watches in terms of their investment potential. Now, is that really buying a watch based on whether you like it or whether you're going to start collecting a certain type of watch? Not really, because you only end up going to Rolex. And, for me, it has got a little bit cliche, very predictable. There's so many watch dealers now on the market pushing you to buy their inventory, which is fair enough, and I understand that, but it's so predictable. And Chirag went on to say, do you think Rolex has played a major part in this? And I said to him, well, and I know that brand managers, the main objective for Rolex around, about 10, 15 years ago was to make them the most desirable brand on the market. And the only way you're going to do that is increasing the desirability of the brand. So how do you do that? You look at the secondary market. Now, at the end of the day, you don't have to be a genius to figure out that Rolex have played a major part in this whole system. Because let me put it to you like this. Have you noticed that when you walk into a Rolex authorized dealer, the majority of their timepieces are in precious metals? It's amazing that all the day dates are there, all those precious metals, 30, 40k, are readily available to buy, but the stainless steel models are not available to buy. Is there a conspiracy? I think not. I think it's very good marketing, very good brand marketing. People think that Rolex don't do too much brand market. They do. They're doing it every day. And they've got an excellent marketing system where they produce a lot less stainless steel sports models. And a lot of them seem to slip into the grey dealers' hands and they top up the price. And, it's not within their interest to start lowering the price. And they've had a massive increase because of the demand. You can't get them at the authorized dealers. But how does this help Rolex? Well, how does this help Rolex? Well, let me put it to you like this. The authorized dealers sell a lot more precious metal models because they're readily available, amazingly enough, from the date trust and the day dates. It's unbelievable, to be honest with you. But to get a bloody stainless steel, which is a common material that you can find in any watch, you can't buy them. And that is no coincidence, guys, I have to say. And another question by Chirag was, what do I think of Richard Mille? Now, I've got nothing against Richard Mille, but I've held them in my hands and I really, really struggle to say that this is a 500k watch. And I can appreciate what they are and the engineering, but yet again, I think, of course, it's a good quality timepiece. And I'm not against them. And I like the look, but they are chunky. They're not amazing in terms of design. And look, I'm more of a classic design guy. Don't get me wrong, I love innovation. But my God, they've got a Velcro strap. My God, honestly, guys, I have to think to myself, £500,000. you know, for some of these watches, I'd rather spend in bricks and mortar, because I'll put it to you like this: bricks and mortar are never going to be flavor of the year. They're never going to be flavor of the month. So you've got to be careful. If you've got more money than sense, then it's absolutely fine. But I am more of a traditional watch guy. I do prefer the traditional watch brands. I am as guilty as anyone for the marketing and getting exposure for certain people. But I'm a business guy. I like making money. I don't hide behind that. For me, it's about getting exposure and finding people to work for my clients. And that's what it's all about. And YouTube has worked very well and has been a very effective tool, a very lucrative tool for me to talk to people that may have an interest in watches and may want a career working part of the Richmond Group or Swatch Group. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast, this Q&A. Chirag, I thought that was a very interesting question, I have to say. I hope you enjoyed the footage along this Q&A today, guys. So if you like what you're hearing, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you guys think about how YouTubers have influenced the watch community. I guess the biggest thing is that they've changed our buying habits. Don't get me wrong, it's not just Rolex, you know. I'll put it to you like this: when I started off YouTube 5 years ago, I was a bit of a watch snob. I will be honest with you. I was very anti micro brands. I was very anti cheap watches, although I did have Casio watches when I was young, and that's because I didn't have a pot to piss in, if I'm being totally honest with you. I'd scrape up and ask my parents at Christmas, get me a Casio digital watch. But that's all historic. But when I got into business, and when I started running my own business, I was looking for the next timepiece to show that I've been doing very, very well. And where I'm going with this is, my mentality changed because I was influenced by YouTubers. For the first time, I decided to buy a Seiko SKX, and I absolutely loved it. I was very anti-micro brands until I physically got one in my hand, and I thought, you know what, this will make a good daily wearer. And now look at me, I'm out interviewing micro brands. I'm reviewing micro brands. I'm getting them exposure. I don't just take anything onto the channel, guys. I do reject a lot of things. For example, Filippo Loretti, they keep on pestering me, but I refuse to put them on the channel because I'll be straight with you. I'm not happy with the way they go about their marketing. You know, they're literally asking people to lie about their products. But I don't want to say too much. I'm sure it's a good product, but it's not for me. I won't say too much. I don't want to rubbish any brand. I'm sure they do a good job with what they do, and within that price range that they operate, I'm sure they're absolutely fine. I don't need to say too much about that. But what I'm getting at is, guys, that I do literally turn down a lot of brands, and I showcase only the products on my channel that I think one of my subscribers will like, and two, that I will generate some money out of it because it keeps me on YouTube. It helps me grow in the channel. But anyway, guys, take care. I hope you enjoyed this podcast today, and I'll see you in the next video.